So, a warm welcome to day 2 of this conference. I hope you all slept well and are ready for one more day. So today we have 3 plenum sessions lined up for you. We will start with focusing on co-creation. Then we have an interactive strategic session with WHO, with Youngji and colleague. And then our last session will be about measuring and evaluating the impact of age-friendly communities and initiatives. We have a lunch at about 1:15 up at the Atlantic Lounge, where the coffee is also today for you. I guess some of you noticed already. If you didn't, it's up there. We'll have water down here soon. But we would like to also serve a bit of cake and pastry today, and we're not allowed to do so in this room because of crumbs. So we can go up there and leave crumbs. So we have our priorities here. Cake is more important than proximity. And don't forget either that you have the possibility after lunch to join a guided tour of the UN city here. It's a really interesting building. It's from 2013, quite new and quite high-level sustainability standards. So I can recommend that. Thank you, Victor. As you see, we have quite a lineup for the first session. And our first session is, what is it? It's about co-creation in age-friendly communities. And as I mentioned yesterday, co-creation is really one of the core principles of creating age-friendly communities. It means involving people in shaping where they live and how they live there. It's about listening, engaging, and working together to find solutions that reflects real needs and aspirations. And this session will highlight examples of different kinds and also of co-creation at different complexity or levels, you could say, from single projects and initiatives to the long-haul systematic relationship building, a strategic effort to all the time have the input of older people in developing an age-friendly city. So please welcome on stage from Sweden, Emma Matsson, Development Manager for Age-Friendly Gothenburg. Yes, please come. And from Norway, yes, please. We have a trio from the Municipality of Sola. We have Sigrun Gaard Steinsøy, advisor at the municipality, and 2 senior citizens, Torill Håkonsen and Arne Gimre. Please join us. Thank you. And from Estonia, Helle-Triin Hansumäe, municipal architect at Tori, rural city. And from Denmark, Paolo Caserotti, a professor at Department of Sports Science and Clinical Biomechanics at the University of Southern Denmark. And our moderator, that will not have a seat at the table, will be Siri, Arntzen-Ratnarajan, will moderate the session that you also met yesterday in the environment session. Please come up here on stage and give them all a warm hand.
Thank you and welcome everyone. I have the joy of closing yesterday and opening today, so my shoulders will lower down after this session, but this is going to be an amazing session on a topic that I'm personally very passionate about, co-creation, co-design. It sounds simple, but I think we all know that it isn't always simple, and it can be quite complex, and there's a lot to learn from the various examples that succeed. It's like Louisa mentioned, we're going to hear about examples that are local and quite small, and some that have gone over time, and there's different elements to learn from each of them. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, so I'm going to let the panel start. And let's see, the first one we're going to hear from is Helle-Triin Hansumäe from Tori Municipality in Estonia. She works in a post-Soviet rural context where trust can be an element of that influences the element of co-design. So the floor is yours. We look forward to hearing you. I'm gonna sit in your place while you.
Hello everyone. Firstly, I want to thank for the opportunity to be here and share our story with you. My name is Helle-Triin. I'm the chief architect of Tori Municipality in rural Estonia. And I'd like to take you to a very small place called Jõesuu and use it to talk about a very big question, why age-friendly inclusion and why now? And I think the very first thing I wanted to do is share with you a small video. It happened. It says that we need to update our browser. But it's not there. It's okay. Technical difficulties. I mean, it hasn't happened before, so. Yes. You're
so lucky.
You're welcome. I took it on myself.
We can see it here, but it's.
We have to share the screen from this computer.
Hello.
Oh, he's coming.
Okay.
Someone is coming. We can watch passively.
Or we can all huddle here. We can watch it together.
I was wondering who you were waving to.
Yes.
Sorry.
In our very big meeting, these are all of our interpretations.
So now you got the feeling that help. Yes. So this was we had the lovely chance to participate in a urban project called E-Connecting. But the story I want to share is quite simple. One village, one afternoon, and some very temporary prototypes, and how this became a new tool for including all generations, not just the people who usually show up. That's not my presentation.
I think you.
I mean, I think the video was worth all the hassle, right?
Very good start to it.
So, as they are trying to figure it out, let me start with a small space reality. Tori municipality is large and quite dispersed. We have lovely villages. We have 41 villages, forests, rivers, many bogs, and very long distances between different services. Jõesuu is tiny and at the confluence of 2 rivers. Yes. Bless you. Next to a protected landscape area, it has very beautiful nature, but it also has no shops, no schools or kindergartens, and no safe walking or cycling routes to the nearest services. So if you are older and you don't drive anymore, or you are afraid of cycling on the fast road, your world becomes extremely small, and mobility gaps become social gaps. At the same time, like many rural areas in Europe, we have an aging population. People want to remain in their homes and communities for as long as possible, but our infrastructure and our planning processes are not always designed with that in mind. Then there is the resilience dimension. We are in Estonia, and as you all know, a small country. We have a very big and sometimes aggressive neighbor. Since the full-scale war in Ukraine, questions of security and resilience feel very concrete. Communities are dealing with compounding shocks, geopolitical tensions, economic uncertainty, and climate events. In this context, age-friendly inclusion is not just nice to have, it is a part of how we build community resilience. A community where older people feel connected, informed, and able to move around is a community that can react better to crises, support each other, and stay psychologically healthy. I also want to bring in a psychological lens that has been very helpful for me personally to understand the whole idea and the problem and the concept. It's a self-determination theory developed by Edward Deci and Richard Ryan. They say that human well-being and motivation are strongly linked to the 3 very simple psychological needs. Autonomy, feeling that I have some choice and control in my life. Competence, feeling that I can do things, I am able to handle daily challenges. And relatedness, feeling that I belong, that I'm connected to other people. For me, the important point is that these all are ageless needs. It doesn't matter whether you are 7-year-old, 37-year-old, or 87-year-old. You all need autonomy, competence, and relatedness, just in different forms. So if our designs of streets and bus stops and our governance and our planning processes support these needs, then participation goes up, well-being goes up, and of course community resilience goes up. And if we do not support these needs, people withdraw, distrust grows, and the most vulnerable disappear from the conversation, and we cannot afford that at the moment. There is also a very specific 65+ barrier in our region that I want to name openly. Many of our older residents grew up in the Soviet system. For them, participation often meant the state already had decided what to do, and your input will not change anything, and usually they were not even asked to participate, especially in relation to government. This history has created a learned low trust and a belief that their opinion doesn't even matter. And we can feel this, I can feel this as a municipal architect every day, for example, in planning meetings, where younger people have opinions, they participate, they engage, they want to, and they know how to be heard. But people over 65 often say that, why should I even come? You will not do what I want anyway, and you don't care. So if we talk about age-friendly inclusion, we also have to talk about healing this legacy, not with big speeches, but by small, tangible experiences where people can actually see when I say something, something actually changes. We had a wonderful opportunity to take part in this urbex project I showed you before. The idea of our project name was e-connecting, and the bigger idea was how to improve sustainable mobility and revitalize small spaces. As I said, we have 41 villages and they are very sparsely in our municipality. And we chose Jõesuu as our pilot village. It has many challenges like limited services, no safe pedestrian and cycling connections, underused tourism potential, even though the landscape is picturesque, and very few public spaces where meeting each other comes naturally. But it's also a place with very strong memories. For example, from the former collective farm era where the sense of place and the community was very strong. But at the moment, it's come very weak and actually it's almost non-existent. So we asked ourselves, how can we work with this village to imagine a safer, more age-friendly public space? How can we do it in a way that includes actually everyone, not only the most active residents? And how can we do it gently so that we can remove it later and still respect the protected landscape? And our answer was test before invest, and we called it Jõesuu Village Day. We organized a single afternoon event in the village together with local partners, so everyone participated basically, where we turned this public space into a kind of temporary living laboratory. The method was simple: one afternoon on site, not in a staffy meeting room, a series of small tangible prototypes and think tanks, we called them idea nests, using temporary materials for active and passive participation because we want to cater to everyone. Playful activities for different ages. You saw we had like outdoor gyms, we had the voluntary firefighters who taught how to extinguish fires. And so that people could take part just by being there. They didn't have to do something. And memory gathering corners where we collected stories and ideas about the village's past and of course the future. So we added simple, playful tools like colorful stickers. You could see here they were giving their opinions just by putting stickers because very many Estonians actually are afraid of talking. We had postcards and maps where people could draw. And big sheets of paper where they could draw like their most ideal bus stop, for example. And it looked actually a lot like a village day, and that was very intentional. There was food, there was live music, children running around, neighbors chatting, and everyone felt safe and most importantly, welcome. But behind this relaxed atmosphere was a very clear goal, for me at least, to test a new method of planning public space where we involve everyone, not only the people who always come to meetings anyway. We wanted to move from inviting the usual suspects to making it almost impossible not to participate. We had in the Jõesuu village 260 people live there and 200 participated. So most of them had to participate because you saw it was underneath their windows. This meant designing for different comfort levels. Some people were happy to join a structured discussion, as you saw in the video also. Some preferred to just put one sticker on the map. Some mainly wanted to sit and comment from a distance. All of these are forms of participation. And importantly, people could see and feel potential solutions immediately, try the benches, instead of hearing about them in a fancy PowerPoint. Again, sorry. This is what we mean by test before invest. We test ideas quickly, cheaply, and collaboratively. We learn what works and what doesn't, and only then we plan more permanent investment. And if we go back to this, my favorite self-determination theory, I think the Jõesuu village, they did these three things. They had autonomy, choice and agency. Older residents could choose how to engage. They could decide where a bench should go. they could say this path feels unsafe and see that we marked it actually on the map. And they could tell us, no, we don't want to bring a big structure here because it will block the view. For people who have lived most of their lives with these feelings of government decides we have to adapt, this kind of small choice was very powerful. It says, this is your place, your preferences matter. Competence, feeling capable, often planning conversation and architectural conversation use very technical language that makes people feel insecure. I'm not an expert, I can't say anything intelligent is usually what they think. By using very concrete prototypes, we change the question from do you support option A or option B in the mobility plan to is this bench okay for you? Can you move safely from the bench to the bus stop? Everyone is competent to answer these questions about their own body and their daily life. This builds a sense of competence, not only about mobility, but also about participating in planning and planning processes. And relatedness, feeling connected. The village day was also designed to connect generations. We saw grandchildren pushing their grandparents' rollators or walking aids, young parents trying to maneuver prams around the bus stop, and teenagers making jokes but secretly also participating. And importantly, there was a dialogue between younger and older residents. Young people heard stories about the collective farm era, and older people heard about the struggles of school buses. We as planners can make generalizations from our own lives. We remember our childhood, we have our current everyday routines, but I think most of us, I'm looking, have not been old yet. So we don't know from our personal experience what it means to navigate the rural village with limited physical strength or limited vision or fear of falling. So to design well, we need to listen. We need to listen, and the village day was a way to listen in a structured but a playful way. Yes. So for me, the Jõesuu experiment also connects to broader European frameworks we work with every day. The Davos Baukultur quality principles, the new European Bauhaus, beautiful, sustainable, together, I think we all know that already, and CEPTED, crime prevention through environmental design. When we include all generations to shaping our public spaces, we create environments that feel ours, not theirs. This shared ownership often increases informal care and surveillance, more eyes on the streets, as Jane Jacobs used to say, which is a CEPTED principle and improves perceived safety. We also support Baukultur by making sure that everyday spaces like bus stops and small squares are rooted in local memory and daily use, not just top-down design. And we embody the new European Bauhaus idea that beauty is not only aesthetics, it's about inclusion and belonging. There is also a justice dimension. Age-friendly inclusion means not only inviting the people who are easy and comfortable to reach and work with, it means making an effort to reach those who don't drive, are not digitally adept, or don't believe their opinion matters. Or simply are tired from a lifetime of participation that actually changed nothing. By designing processes like the Jõesuu Village Day, we try to say you are not a problem to be managed, you are a partner in shaping this place. Let me end with a few reflections from our side as a municipality. First, small, low-cost prototypes can change relationship, not only spaces. After the village day, when I meet people or residents in Jõesuu who actually in the beginning were very suspect why I chose their village, it has nothing to give, they didn't see the potential, actually now have changed the tune a bit. They refer to all these things like our idea or our bench and our bus stop. The barrier of mistrust is a little bit lower now because there is a concrete shared experience. Secondly, test before invest helps us as planners to be more humble and more precise. We might think we know where a bench should go. A 2-hour experiment can show us that we were actually wrong. It is much better to discover this with a temporary bench than with a finished concrete structure. And thirdly, we realized that inclusion is not a single event, it should be a practice. The Village Day was one step. The next steps are integrating the learnings into our mobility and public space plans, communicating clearly which ideas we will use, we will not use, or why we will not use them, and continuing to use similar methods in other villages and towns in our municipality. And finally, I want to circle back to the original question, why age-friendly inclusion now? I think it's because in times of uncertainty, geopolitical, economic, and climatic, we cannot afford to leave a whole generation outside the circle of agency. Older residents hold memories, skills, and social networks that are crucial for resilience. When we design and govern in ways that support autonomy, competence, and relatedness for all ages, we get better streets and bus stops, we get stronger communities, and we also get something less visible but very important, a sense that we are all in this together and every decade of life has a voice. So thank you.
Thank you so much. That was really fantastic. I hope you can share your speech in writing, because there are so many really nice phrases and theories, and I learned a lot. So thank you very much. Our next speaker is Emma Matsson from Gothenburg Municipality in Sweden. Emma leads work on future developers, a model that reframes older adults as co-creators who actively shape municipal solutions. She'll talk about how to turn engagement into ownership and what it takes to involve diverse groups. Please welcome Emma.
Thank you, Siri, and thank you all for a great conference. Great days with great discussions even between the sessions. So I'm very happy to be able to be here. Yeah, my name is Emma Matsson, and I am the development manager for the work of Age-Friendly Gothenburg. And I will tell you a bit about our future developers in Gothenburg, which is seniors that are involved with the work of making Gothenburg a more age-friendly city. But first, some short facts about Gothenburg. Gothenburg City is the second largest city in Sweden, with about 600,000 inhabitants, and 100,000 of them are 65 years or older, and that makes the senior population in percentage, 17% of the people living in Gothenburg are 65 years or older. So we still have quite a young population actually in Gothenburg. That might be interesting. A few years before I started this work, I will take you back to 2019. At that time, Gothenburg City was starting to work on how to create an action plan for the work on age-friendly Gothenburg. And they were thinking about how to involve senior in a creative, exciting way. And they already had Council of Pensioners and of course social meeting places for seniors. But now they wanted a group of seniors that could follow the work and contribute more hands-on in a more practical way in the work and support municipal departments and administrations and companies in this work. So they were actually very inspired by Age-Friendly Manchester, which also has a network for older people that contributes to the city's development. They formed workshops around the city in the social meeting places for seniors and thought about what to do. And they landed in the future developer or developing assignment. They didn't know quite how to do this, but they knew that they wanted a group of seniors that could be involved also in the making of the action plan, together with other groups of seniors, of course, but still a group that they could have closer contact with. So they They advertised for information meetings where they invited seniors to the city to discuss how to do this together. And they wanted to see what the interest was like, how many wanted to join. So they went out on local radio and working with the social meeting places and tried to be out also on the squares and by the grocery shops and the pharmacies and so on, where they knew that seniors would be at. And about 200 seniors in Gothenburg wanted to join as a future developer, wanted to contribute to the municipality's development. And the seniors that were interested in this assignment, they had to answer some questions because they wanted a variety of persons with different backgrounds, and they absolutely wanted them to live in all parts of Gothenburg. And they also did a collaboration exercise together. And from those 200, they selected about 30 future developers. So you can see them here on the picture. That is the first future developers of Gothenburg. Of course, they would want to somehow engage all of the 200 that really wanted to contribute. But at this time, they didn't have the resources to facilitate such a big network. So they chose this group of 30 seniors. They worked together with creating the action plan together with the societal actors, the different municipal departments and companies and other groups of seniors. We also have a baseline assessment for the work of Age-Friendly Gothenburg. When they had done that, then COVID happened. We also had a huge reorganization in Gothenburg, which put the work on hold for a few years. And then, in January 2022, I got assigned for this mission of becoming the development manager for Age-Friendly Gothenburg. And I gathered my colleagues, amongst others, the elder ombudsman in Gothenburg, Helena, which is here today with us. So the elder ombudsman, together with me and some colleagues, closest colleagues with me, we sat down and thought about what to do with this network. And we decided that we want to gather the future developers that want to continue this work with us. So let's gather them. And we did that. And here is the future developers today. We have, at the moment, I think there are now 17 future developers. And we are thinking about recruiting more and how we can do that. But the first thing we did when we got together was reminding ourselves about why do we need future developers? We need to have a strong why to make this really good. And of course it's about making sure that Gothenburg has age-friendly environments where people can live happy lives with a good well-being and health for as long as possible. We also want to make it easy for seniors and all people to contribute in the society in various ways. And very specifically, we also see that this gives us the opportunity to get user-driven insights, of course, and that improves decision-making in all levels. The obvious, that it strengthens participation. It's important to be a part of the development of the city. Then you also care for the society and you get to know more about how you can contribute and so on. And that leads to spin-off effects also. We know that this is a work where we also can build stronger connections between the older residents and the city. We need to work in many ways. Future developers, that is just one way we work together with seniors. But this is a great way of doing it in a close way, I think, and quite fast-moving way also. And we see that it really brings in new perspectives that foster innovation. So the municipal departments and companies are happy that we have the future developers, and we see that they are asked for more and more frequently. The more they work, the more they also get asked for. And the future developers themselves tell us all the time that it feels really good to be useful, and we feel that we do something good for the city. So that is also an important aspect. So after we had reminded ourselves on why we need future developers, we started visualizing our goal. And we worked upon the question, what do we want it to be on the front page of the biggest newspaper in Gothenburg, Göteborgs-Posten? And this is the result. And to translate what it says is that the future time to celebrate, magical. The future developers gave a voice for older Gothenburgers or people living in Gothenburg. We make a difference every day, and the political parties all agree about that it's springtime for the world's most thought-through community. And the result is fantastic, said and done. One of the hottest trend, a human city. So we have this with us in the work and remind ourselves about why we do this once in a while. And today, the future developers, of course, when we have this goal and we have the vision, what do we want to accomplish, then we need to take action. We need to roll up the sleeves and do things. So we meet with the seniors once a month in a network meeting, where different stakeholders can come and join us and bounce their ideas. And when we meet them in the network meeting, the future developers themselves highlight that they are there at their best when they meet them together, because then you get access to their collective brain. So that is really interesting. They work, for example, as reference groups for administrations, companies, and a lot of research practice. They act as test pilots for new and existing services and places. They also take part and get invited to different panel discussions and dialogues. And they drive their own initiatives in the city. And they also are a great resource for us in the strategic work. Some of them have experience on changing society at also a national level. So they have a lot of different backgrounds, they speak different languages, and they live all through the city. But they get used a lot, and the age itself makes it difficult sometimes. And as you see, they were 30 of them from the beginning, and now they are 17. So we see really the need to recruit more, and we're thinking about how we can make this group more verified. But then again, we work together with other groups as well, of course, minority groups, people that speak different languages and so on. But it's a really interesting group to work with. And to let you get some insight to their work, you will see now some pictures of where they have contributed. A few examples. So this is from a couple of years ago. They were photo models, really. So we had a huge information campaign in Gothenburg, a collaboration between different administrations and municipal companies, with a message that if you think it's difficult with digital things, then you can get help. Just get yourself to the nearest library or social meeting place for seniors, and we will help you out. It doesn't cost anything. You don't need to book time. Just drop by and we will help you out. So this was a couple of years ago, and now you can actually get this support also in your own home. So that is fantastic, I think. So you see here on the picture is Nahid on my left, your right, Ingela and Håkan. And this is a picture from a meeting it's about an EU project called Reallocate, which is about sustainable transportation. So the city of Gothenburg is connected to this EU project, and this meeting took place in June this year. And other age-friendly cities in Europe gathered in Gothenburg to discuss sustainable transportation for the future. For example, Barcelona, Lyon, Dublin, and Tampere joined us. And of course, future developers were a part of this. Here you see, for example, Eva, and they were really appreciated. Their insights were really appreciated. And here we have Nahid, and we talked a lot about the challenges also in a city to get around when we live in a city that is constantly growing and is under construction a lot. In the background, you also see, I think it is Flexlinjen. Anne-Berit talked some yesterday about the pink buses in Norway, on-demand transport. And I think that's what you see here in the background as well, the Flexlinje, on-demand transport. Here is a picture from where they gave their insight and their thoughts about a place in Gothenburg called Kungsparken. So it's like a site visit together with the city building administration to give them insight and think together about how we can develop a place. They also have been contributing during think tanks that we have arranged around the city. And this one here is from a democratic event in Gothenburg, which is called Frihamnsdagarna. It's a large political event, but you can also have different organizations that gather in a place where you can speak about important topics in society. So it's not only about questions about older people or so, but it's very varied. And we try to be where we discuss important topics in society. So this is a panel discussion in that. They also join us during the West Pride, and this is a picture from the West Pride parade. And then I talked a little bit about the network meetings. They do not only contribute. I don't know really why it's automatic now. The slides forward. But we have the network meetings, and here it's the sports and association administration that came to join us. And we're thinking about and bouncing ideas with the future developers about how we can support lifelong physical activity, how we can make it easier to get access and so on. And in Gothenburg, there are so many activities for free for seniors, which is fantastic. So a big question for us in Gothenburg is really, how do we reach out with this information? And they get a lot of assignments also between the network meetings, and they don't all need to participate at everything. They choose a little bit those things that they are most interested in. This is a dialogue at the City Library in Gothenburg, where they have also enhanced their activities for seniors and the possibilities of also lending, like an opera visit or lending a concert visit and so on. So we discussed how we can develop that further and make more people know about it also. This is a super exciting dialogue with a Swedish agency for participation. And here, last picture, we have a picture of me and Ingela at Fritidsbanken. Fritidsbanken is a concept in Sweden where municipalities can join and you can lend gear for free and test new things and so on. So we try to make sure that they also have a senior perspective, and we want to make it easier for seniors to realize that the Fritidsbanken is not only for younger people, it's for people of the whole life, and they also want to develop in this direction. So I can really recommend to work with a group of seniors like this. We learn a lot from them. They also learn a lot about the municipality. They learn a lot about the complexity of these questions also, and why it's not always so easy to fix things. So that is great both for them, but also for us. But then again, as with all collaborations, it's super important that you really put in your time and effort to this. I mean, it's about building relations, taking care of each other in different ways. So when you do that, you really get a great potential for the whole city. So I can warmly recommend it. Not as the only way you work together with seniors, of course, but as one way. So thank you.
just intervening here. We'll just double check that there's no time thing has snuck into the master PowerPoint. So you can just...
Some questions for our panelists, because I will challenge you afterwards. So thank you very much. Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay. Good. You got to get some coffee and have some discussions in between. And sorry, is it? Oh, there it's on. Thank you. Thank you. Well, next we are going to Norway. We are going to the west of Norway, to Sola kommune. And this municipality has taken the co-design to the next level, where not only is the participants showing in the pictures, they're actually going to join on stage. But Sigrun Gaard Steinsøy from Sola Municipality will present alongside two citizen participants, Kurt Arne Gimre and Torill Håkonsen. That was easy for me to pronounce. Their work is about radical transparency about the future constraints of resources in the municipality, and involves entire year groups of residents in shared dialogue. Today, they'll show how honesty, ownership, and community building can come together in a very practical way. Give a warm hand.
Hi. Hi. One thing. Hi. It's good. We are pleased to be here to tell you about our life quality project 65 plus. This is a project where the municipality builds a relationship to the 65 years residents. In 2019, the municipality of Sola in Norway, by 4 employees, took the initiative and called 6 residents, age 65. We invited them to a lunch meeting, and the agenda was to establish a relationship, listen to what they care about, explore the possibility of shaping the future together. We started talking, and 2 weeks later, we was clarifying mutual expectation. We shared our perspective on the challenges ahead, tighter budget, fewer employees, and one of the most significant known challenges for the life as retired, loneliness. We also reflected on what the municipality can do and what you can do yourself to prepare for your life as retired from work. Together, we settled on 4 questions designed to invite reflection on life after 65, which may last for at least 20 to 30 years, maybe longer. What is important to you. How do you want to spend your time? Who do you want to spend your time with? Where do you want to live? After the conversation in 2019, the municipality has invited residents at 65 years to an annual gathering. The municipality share information about topics that are important to reflect on, and additional information about the perspective of future challenges in the community, in the municipality. Local activity groups or organizations of volunteers are present, and former 65ers are also there to answer questions about their experience with the project. Every year, a new group of 65ers established. They make activity plans for the years to come based on what is important to them. The representatives from the municipality are always minor to the 65ers. We listen to each other and reflect on what is important to the 65ers. The leader of Sola Volunteers Center assists the group in setting plan into practice and send out information. Some of the 65ers' new groups and activities that come out of the project may later become a part of the voluntary center.
In 2019, I was invited to meet the project group 65 plus. And I was really excited and a bit curious about what was expected of me. I also wondered what could come out of such a project. 6 years have passed and I still believe in this co-creation project. It has been set into practice in a way that I trust and I like. We make people meet. We focus on what is important to prepare for, and if possible, start a process before we retire to make a smoother transition into our new status. We move from full schedule to open schedule from one day to another. To some, that is a relief. To others, that is a great loss. Sola has about 29,300 residents in 2025. This year, there are 315 residents turning 65. They have different backgrounds of work, of income, status, mental and physical health. What they have in common is the year they are born and the future to handle. At our big gathering, we can see people looking for old schoolmates, neighbors and friends. And we see many happy reunions. But we also meet and see people that walks alone, and trying to find someone to talk to. We wish them welcome to the gathering and show them around the hall. Everybody who comes to the gathering are introduced to different activity groups and organizations, such as outdoor activities and sports, arts and crafts, gardening, senior university, local history group, and many, many others. They will get information about membership, where and when to meet, and they can make an appointment to visit the group for further information. In my professional work, I have met many, many lonely and deeply depressed and passive people. And I've also seen the magic of doing things together, and that people gradually come back to life. As we all know, there is a crack in everything, and that's where the light comes in. The big gathering makes people meet and make plans together. Someone to talk to be with, to do something meaningful together at their own level. And this quality project 65 plus works. And how do we know that? Many activity groups report increasing memberships and higher activity. One of our new residents visited an arts and crafts group that I'm a member of, and she told me it was like coming home. New groups have been established. One group of men started with 4 members. Now they count 220. The municipality of Sola contributes with facilities and venues and spread information about events. We communicate regularly, listen to each other, and we literally co-create. The participants will not take over professional healthcare tasks. We will invest in our own lives, do the best we can to stay physically, mentally, and socially active, so that we can take care of ourselves as long as possible. We are convinced that this is the best for ourselves, but also makes it easier for the municipality to take care of those who need it the most. At last, a quote from a Norwegian poet and psychologist. Dance with your heart, and your body will follow. Everything else is empty and hollow.
When I, in 2022, for the first time heard about this project, I fairly quickly concluded that the essence had to be quality of life. How to maintain and improve my own and other people's quality of daily life when you are 65 years or above. As this project went on, I learned a lot, and I identified 3 major factors that for me stood out as nucleus to achieve improved quality of life. Factor number 1, social aspects. Family and friends, somebody to talk to and get a response from. The importance of meeting people, it being family, friends, or other, cannot be underlined enough. We all need someone to talk to, interact in activity with, and be able to air out our daily challenges. If you don't have this network, you should be motivated and influenced to take action and connect to people. Through the project, I met old classmates, new friends, and I reconnected and increased my social network in a way that I believe we all benefited from. Factor number 2, activity and training. Movement, activity and training are important elements for all age groups, but maybe it is even more important when you get older. Once I met a 74-year-old man on a mountain hike in Norway. My son and I were starting a challenging hike that was stipulated to last 5 to 6 hours. The 74-year-old said that he was looking for a longer hike stipulated to last 10 to 11 hours. I asked him, what is the secret to be able to do such a long hike? And he answered, get out of your sofa. Get up and out and into your garden, to the beach, to the park, or whatever. But do not sit down for hours and physically pacify yourself. After I became a part of this project, I remember this talk in the mountains. The value of its message became clearer to me than ever before. Train your heart and your lungs. Train your body strength. Move and walk, and remember, less is more, also concerning training and fitness. Factor 3, the picture explains itself, it's diet and food. Be aware of what you are eating from day to day. A Slovenian lady I met in Washington, D.C. in 2006 had a PhD in nutrition. She recommended adjustments in daily diet by increasing the intake of vegetables and fruit and reduce daily intake of sugar. But she also said, start with small adjustments. Large adjustments can easily make a change project collapse. From the start of our project, I connected the content of this information with all other issues and themes we had discussed. And the value of what the Slovenian lady said became clearer to me than ever before. In conclusion, the Life Quality Project 65 Plus has given me a lot of new insights into ways and actions I can do to improve my quality of life. I knew something about this subject from before, but this project helped me get the theme a part of my daily life and daily routine. Small adjustments, some more of this, a little bit less of that, and everybody's quality of life can be improved. Do as the Nike family, just do it.
Our project is about building relationship with the 65ers and is based on the theory of co-creation, which means relationship and goals are formed as we met. Over the year, a few success factors have proven more important than others. As a representative of the municipality, I must be aware of my role as a democratic developer. The authority role I normally have can take a step back. The language and words we use matters. I am always mindful of the words I use when communicating with the resident. 3. I must trust the process of co-creation. I don't know what will come out of the creativity, resources, and experience that are shared in conversation. But history tells us it creates relationship, and more us than us and them. 4. In many ways, we can say that the process is the goal. I hope to spread the message that it is important to connect with this age group. The possibilities are endless when we are in it together. Together, we concluded that this project is a life quality project for those aged 65 plus. It is founded on activity, participation, and community. Thank you.
Wow, fantastic. And yeah, it's very inspiring also to hear from 3 different perspectives, and also someone saying, I, not them. So it's incredibly inspiring to hear and a lot to learn. It's the diet aspect, which we haven't spoken so much about, reminds me of a quote of a person in the Bodø municipality who works with people who turn 80. She said that this group either has the best diet in the world with only home-cooked food from the ground, or they have the worst, and that's often if the wife who has all the cooking knowledge has faded away or has died, and there is a lack of cooking skills on the other side, then it turns around. So diet is an incredibly important topic. Thank you for raising it. Now we will go to Denmark and Italy, to the north and the south. Our final speaker is Professor Paolo Caserotti from the University of Southern Denmark. His work focuses on developing evidence-based, sustainable models that support active and healthy aging. And he leads major European projects on physical activity, nutrition, and behavioral change. Yeah. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And yes, thank you for inviting me. This is very interesting setup with different stakeholders. It's always an interesting thing to hear different opinions from practice to research. So yeah, I think this is, you put up the perfect stage for me for physical activity and nutrition. Thank you so much for doing that. So yeah, I will speak up a little like a devil advocate for some of the things that have been said so far, and put probably some question marks about the co-design. So this is about a project which is called Enrich Habits, primarily. But before, I will give you just a very quick background on physical inactivity and what it means in practical terms, physical inactivity. This is what we know about physical inactivity. We know that, for instance, we have about 500 millions of new cases of preventable non-communicable disease between 2020-2030. We know that probably in our society, Western society, this will account for about 70% of the healthcare costs in the coming years. And we know also that most of those are related not only to general health, as we think about hypertension or other issues, but also about depression. And if you put this into numbers, this is a review we wrote some years ago. These are some even worse number, because we see that, for example, the estimates of physical activity in terms of all-cause mortality is 6%, stroke 11%, breast and colon cancer 21-25%, diabetes 27%, and ischemic heart disease about 30%. So these are some of the issues that we're dealing. So it's not only a question of behavior, it's a serious question about health and a major impact on our healthcare sector. The question is that, so where are we with physical activity? This is a Danish report from 2022 and looks at the physical inactivity in Danish men and women by age groups. As you can see, the age of 64 up to above 75, we have a group of people up to 75% who do not meet what we actually recommend, so the national guidelines or international guidelines of physical activity. So it's really an enormous pandemic, the physical activity. The question is that once we have such a strong evidence, why are people not active? This is the question we are always trying to understand. And I try to make a sort of a quick sum up of some of the main reasons. And I categorize them in some main categories. The first one is about interpersonal determinants. So it can be health, and here you can put anything you like. It can be pain, can be fear of falling, can be incontinence. It doesn't really matter. We can put social supports, so limited supports. Caregiving, many of our older adults are responsibility of caregiving for their partners and so on, which actually prevents them to be physically active despite they wish and they could be physically active. We have environments, and we heard a lot about this, walkability, for example, weather conditions, limited facilities in the surroundings where people live. Then we have programs. We are really bad in tailoring programs for older adults. We tailor programs for middle-aged, more or less fit population, but we don't tailor them in older adults. When we do focus groups with them, they often say that the locations, the facilities, the restroom, many things we also heard yesterday, actually are not tailored for us. And that's why they decide not to join these programs here. And the last one here is about others. And others, there's a lot of stuff, and I didn't have the space to write everything here. But ethnicity, for example, in multi-ethnic society, this is an issue, and we should try to tailor some of this intervention for those people here. When we look at what facilitates physical activity, well, we're nearly the opposite. So we have health goals. So some people are motivated by health. Not many, actually. Many, fewer than I would expect. They wish to be independent. And in fact, this is one of the most important things, the fact that people there has to be fun. They have to enjoy that. And this is one of the key secrets in our intervention. We have a project which is called Join for Joy, and people really like it, indeed. The second is about social peer support, group-based activity. This is really a main driver, establishing social network for older adults. The environments, so if you have a facility which allows you to walk to the place where you want to be physically active, indoor or outdoor, it doesn't matter here. The program, tailoring program, has been very successful for all the people. When we integrate healthcare, when your GP actually supports your decision, that's a strong cocktail for changing behavior. And the last one, for example, is about your previous experience in life. So if you experience physical activity in an older age, in a young age, now you can remember what happened in the past. Regardless, as you can see, these behaviors are really complex, and there are a lot of different things. And what we often do in our societies, we tackle complex problems with super simple solutions. And these solutions very often are short terms. They don't have implementation strategies. So in fact, they don't have the legs to continue it after the intervention. They often focus on health. So you have hypertension, the GP gives you a recept for hypertension, but they don't tackle, for example, the joy, the fun, the environment, and other things. And the most important thing, which is actually one of the focus here, is they fail to recruit people with a high risk. So we normally get the top of the top in very case. In other words, when we translate this into sort of concrete take-home message, we have an issue with effectiveness and, in fact, with sustainability, long-term sustainability. So that's why we use also co-design, as basically everyone else here. And I don't think I have to explain what co-design is to this audience. I just pick up, I like this from the National Geographic Society, this definition. It's been called in many, many different ways. We use a term which is called citizen science, but I believe that if you ask me, I don't even know what the difference is between all these definitions. I think it's more or less they share the same background. Regardless, despite we are very much fond of that, citizen science comes with a lot of potential challenges. And I'm trying to list some of these challenges, and I think this is really the focus of my talk here. So the first challenge is about the usual suspects. We heard that several times. So who are we getting on board for the co-design process? Are the strongest? Where are the voices of those who are less representative? Ethnic minorities, and so on. This is a major, major problem, because solutions that will be decided will be based on the opinion. We give an enormous power, democratic power, to the co-design, to the citizens, but also this power has to be distributed across different, how can I say, socioeconomic and cultural and ethnic groups, and so on. So that's the very, very important things. The second one is about imbalance. I heard many, many good examples today of actually balance, but especially in research, we tend to do imbalance programs. We pretend to co-design, but then we still hold some level of authority in the process of designing those things. And this, of course, is an imbalance problem sometimes. And we do have to try to understand when to step down and let the citizens speak. The third one is about, fits very well with the first one, is about physical, for example, and cognitive constraints. So for us, we would work with the physical activity, and we try to target people who are really frail and people who are really less represented. It's very hard to recruit these people, to get them on board with those things, because they get tired. They have a hard time to come out of the house. And so it's really difficult to get them into a process which is demanding, regardless what we do. And this is, of course, is a question about representativeness as well. The fourth one is about tools, digital tools. We use often digital tools, communication, and I will show you in a second what we use for our citizen science methodology. But these digital tools require some digital literacy, of course. And it also comes with an issue for those who are not skilled in digital literacy. The fifth one is about evaluation and generalizing. So this is a question about, once we develop this model, how does this model fit on a neighborhood, maybe even the same city, just a few kilometers away? Is something we can replicate, or do we have to do citizen science, replicate citizen science hundreds of times to be confident that actually it works exactly in the place it's meant to work? And the last one, when we talk about behavioral change, is about, it comes with some issues. And I'll try to show you these issues here. So, if we want to prevent falls, so there's something, we know there's something that works. And we have evidence that there's something that works. So we have a cocktail that works. But how about in our co-design, if people don't want that cocktail, or they don't come with alternative solution to the cocktail, maybe they come with something which is not effective in terms of our outcomes, preventive fall. So what do we do? So this is an issue that we have to sort of cope with and decide what to do with that. The other one is about social norms, about aging. For instance, I'm Italian, I hear very often our GPs in Italy saying some really weird thing about aging. So don't exercise, don't walk, just go for a swim, take it easy, you're old, and so on. This is ageism. But the voice of the doctor, GP, is so strong that influences the process of co-design immensely. So if we get on board people with this background, the question is that how is going to represent these outputs of the co-design process with these people being actually the voice of the co-design. And the last one is about from environment to personal change. So once we develop a new environment, we create a new environment, a friendly environment, is it going to be used regardless? So does it mean that if we have a better path or a green area, all the people, and especially those people who want to work, they're going to use that? This mismatch sometimes can create some critical questions. So this is our project. This is a Rich Habits project. It's called Empowering Citizens to Adopt Healthy Lifestyle Habits, a data-enabled community-based citizen science approach. And the goal of the project is to use an holistic approach to identify targets, so people high risk, empower communities with clustering of citizens' risk. So we're talking about physical inactivity and bad nutrition, malnutrition. Activate and support its citizens to improve diet and physical activity habits. And the challenges we're trying to address is to actually find these people. This is not a simple task, as I said, because normally when we go out there, we find only those who are on top of the surface, to identify whether they exist and how they cluster. There are some clusters, not only a geographic cluster, can be clustered in families, clustering, different kind of clustering. To co-create this solution with these people, empower the citizens, and to build capacity structure to support citizens which are structurally embedded in local practice. Basically, everything we heard so far today. And the last one, which I think the one which is very dear to me, of course, is to evaluate the co-creation process and to understand if we do have a chance to make an impact with the co-creation process. I'll take you very fast through the different steps of these projects. So we use a registries, database, existing data. So we have many thousand database, and we try to do some complex analysis. So we use some machine learning. We try to understand these risk factors, the phenotypes, how the risk cluster, and so on. We try to see whether they are in specific areas, in specific regional areas, but also very much not only geographic, but other clustering. And then the idea is that based on this clustering, we try to get these people, some of those people on board. We invite them, and then we start the process evaluation, the citizen science and the evaluation. What we've done here, we've tried to create a sort of step-by-step citizen science. So we have a phase where we have a planning, and I will tell you just some of the steps very fast. The planning of the citizen science, we have a step when we recruit people, we have an onboarding where we provide information, and then we do research walks where the people are actually informed, they work by themselves, they use an app which is called the Healthy Wood Apps, they take pictures, they discuss, they can work by themselves or in group. Then they gather, they create solutions together, and then we try to validate these solutions both internally and externally. And what does it mean internally, externally? It means that we discuss about the solutions with people who have been involved in citizen science in the beginning, but didn't discontinue, but also with external older people who were not part of the citizen science. So this is like our external validation. And we'd like to have the older adults be very critical with each other, because that's where actually we can build a positive process with that. In each of these steps, we have decided to create a sort of a metrics. And I heard yesterday talking about metrics. Some people were asking questions about metrics. How do we evaluate? How ensure that we are not biased in this process here? So in each of these steps, we use different methods. We use questionnaires. We use assessment of, for example, of pain, previous experience, ideas on physical activity and nutrition, and so on. We use a think aloud protocols, focus groups, and so on and so forth. The whole point here is that we try to, in each of these steps, we try to identify potential bias that can affect eventually the end product, which is the co-creation process. Or at least we try to understand, I wouldn't call it a bias, but we try to understand if the end product is highly influenced by strong personalities, meanings, or experience, previous experience for these older people. How do we evaluate this? We don't evaluate effectiveness. There is no way we can do that in a 3-4 years project and so on. What we have decided is to evaluate perceived readiness to change. So we evaluate whether people are ready to change, whether they've changed their behaviors, they've changed their attitudes to physical activity or physical inactivity and malnutrition. And the last step, which is most important for all of us, is actually to create what we call a sort of a manual to conduct citizen science interventions with a process evaluation, this is called, but with focus on behavioral change. We have a number of guidelines, but when we come to behavioral change, there is the complexity actually of personal meanings, histories, and so on and so forth, as I just presented so far. So our idea here is that we would like to create this manual to support people working with behavioral change and co-creation behavioral change. So in conclusion, so is it an illusion for real change? Of course it is not. It's not an illusion. And of course we strongly believe that co-design and citizen science is the process, is an absolutely necessary process to move forward and to solve some of these eternal challenges like sustainability, long-term sustainability, and outreach of less visible people, and eventually long-term impact. Regardless, I think it's important that we should be aware that there are some shortcuts with citizen science, with co-design. We have to be very, very careful how we create. It's a super important, super relevant democratic tool, but we should also be careful how we distribute this tool. So if some older people representing the citizen science group are not representing the entire community, that's a very, very strong tool that we give in the hands of few people. So I think it's important to be careful about those things and consider well all the steps we do. And this, of course, to prevent some biased conclusions. And the other question I think is important that we should try it when we want to generalize citizen science or co-creation process. I think it's important we do an internal, but also we do an external evaluation with citizens who are not being part of it, and possibly those who are most critical on actually the things we've been doing that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for an amazing panel. I mean, I think we should put our hands together for all of them just before we start. Such varied stories and opinions. And do we have a microphone going around? Because I would like to open the floor to questions. Do we have any first? Yes.
Thank you so much. This was very inspiring and thought-provoking in many ways. And first I must comment the picture. I thought the walker was a Swedish invention from the 1960s. Obviously not.
It's an Italian thing. I'll tell you later.
Everything. It's Leonardo da Vinci, everything. No, but Helle-Triin, your presentation quite inspiring, and with the strain that goes for many of you. But you talked about different ways to reach out to people on their terms, and not only the usual way that municipalities want to. Please come and tell us things, and we want this group, and please blah blah, and now we want you to do this and that. But this very subtle things with moving a bench or just trying something really tiny and small steps. And Sigrun mentioned from your position a need to step back and trust the process. That is just about that, but that's a big challenge, I would say, from the municipal perspective. As a director or boss in the municipality, you should show success, and you should develop big programs, and you should take initiatives and do a lot of big stuff that is easily shown. So could you perhaps all of you, some of you, reflect on that, the leadership of this kind of work, that you need to step back and you need to trust the process, and what does it mean for you as leaders that you need to trust others to make things happen? For me, I see there's a sort of a challenge there from a leadership perspective. Thank you so much.
We can also have others raise their hands, but I would say if someone feels called to start the reflection. Yeah.
I have a view on your question. If you are in a leading position in a municipality, you would most likely be a lawyer or an economist or have a sort of a degree in something. But you should take your training as a leader really serious, because to be able to endure the pain you just described, you have to be self-confident and believe in yourself to the element where you actually let older people like myself come through with the view, and you don't have to have all those results and so on, because you have enough on your hands anyway. Why not be able to do both those things? You are a high-figured, important person in your community anyways. So just leaders in municipalities should be thinking about their leadership training and who am I as a leader? And that might be something they can endure.
Wonderful answer, thank you. There's the next question here. Yes. I would say, just to say, I would say, please continue reflecting in the break, but we're just going to get through some more just to spark the conversation.
Yes, thank you. I have a question related to also the theme we talked about yesterday, and it's the theme about the usual suspects. And we talked about it yesterday, and it was mentioned that it's very important with human relations and that people are confident and want to take part. But still, for instance, in your projects, I mean, do you have more to elaborate on regarding this aspect, apart from human relations and apart from confidence and what's in it for me, for instance. Still, I think we talk about inequality in health, and we talk about at least here in Denmark, and also it was mentioned yesterday. So the question is, I would like to know more about the methods to get more people involved in the projects, the recruitment aspect.
I think many people can. We all seek to recruit. Emma, do you want to start?
I can try to start answering that question. I think it's a really important question. How do we want people also to want to collaborate with us as a municipality? And what messages are we sending out as a municipality? In my opinion, where I work, I think we are quiet about who the municipality is for. So I really think that we have to be a lot more where people are at, and we need to step back and do things together a lot more, and then we will build the trust. And I think that way, perhaps step by step, we can get more people joining in, wanting to contribute. Recently, we did a survey among older people in Gothenburg. We tried to send home, we didn't really know, how should we do this? How could we reach those that we never speak to? We tried to send home postcards, and that was really appreciated, with a personal message that you are so important to us. We would like to hear your opinion about Gothenburg as an age-friendly city. What works well today, and what can we do better? Call us, we can come to you, or whatever. And I realized that so many people perhaps just noticed the card and did nothing, but some of them actually called us, some of them actually came to meet us, we came to them also. We seeked group up that we know struggle with mental health issues or minority groups and so on. And the response we got was fantastic and huge and so warming, and we got the chills sometimes, because first of all, just that we sent out the message that Gothenburg wants to be a more age-friendly city. They thought that was great itself. Is that true? You really want to work with making this city better? You want to hear what I have to say? And the answers we got was not just to tick in boxes. It was so thoroughly written or so by heart formulated. So there was a lot of engagement in this. So I think that we need to do it. We just actually need to get started. Try something and work from there and make it better along the way. We realized that, oh my gosh, we just got answers from this group. Well, then we have to think a bit wider, what can we do, and then develop along the way, I would say. Yeah. But it's an important question and not so easy to give an easy answer in English also.
Do it in respective languages.
Do it and try. Yeah.
Respective languages in the break or reflections afterwards. Paolo?
Yeah, thank you. This is a really important question. Despite we work as a researchers, of course, this is one of the focus, get the people, the oldest people, and get those who are not visible, in fact. So we use a lot of different pathways. We use municipalities, healthcare sector. So we have in Denmark, we have a service which is called preventive home visits. So basically this access nearly 100% of people. This is a very, very special pathway we use. Ethnic minorities, for example, we use how can I say, representative of ethnic minorities. So we establish a dialogue, we establish a sort of a trust. We have a lot of presentation, a lot of talks with them and so on. And so we create a sort of a network with those people. We use housing, so some protected housing, because the people really know and understand each other. So we use a lot of different pathways. But the whole point is that try to get those below the surface and prevent to have only those who are actually the strongest, the fittest, the usual suspects.
Yes, I think I'm getting a message to send you all to a break. I would love to have more questions for everyone, so please continue and ask questions, have dialogue on this topic, and learn more as we go into the break. And Louisa, do you want to send a message?
Thank you. Yes, first of all, a big warm thank you to our speakers panel and Siri for moderating.